Welcome to The Girl Herd,
where we talk Texas football.
and a bunch of takes you've probably already heard.
But not from us.
Welcome back to another episode of The Girl Herd, the non-winter apocalypse in Houston that we were preparing for. We're all like in-house, but no snow.
Which honestly, I feel like I kind of love that. Like, you know what? I think everyone kind of craves. Everyone sort of jokes around like, we need another lockdown. And it's like, this was just a couple days. No one had their power go out. And you know what? It's the top of the year. Last weekend was a 3-day weekend for most of us. So it's like this little extra reset. I'm going to take it. I'm not mad about it. Got some groceries, cooked some food, watched some shows. Like, I'm taking that any day of the week, especially in the winter because we don't even get real winter around here. So this is like our winter.
It is. I'm sitting down here, like you can probably hear it. My downstairs of my house is so much colder than the upstairs. So I have like this little heater going on, which clearly I need to reseal my house in that regard. But I went up to my parents for a little bit and I was like, I literally packed up stuff from my refrigerator, all of these things for thankful, like you said, we didn't lose power. But I'm like, I could have stayed in my bed the whole time.
I know.
I've been traveling for work all week.
Yeah, especially you were traveling. That's true. But I mean, I thought of it. Obviously, we talked about it. We chatted about it. Like, do we go somewhere? Like, are we going to have regrets because we didn't go and then our power is going to be out and then the roads are going to be all icy and so we can't go anywhere? And so, yeah, I wavered and I was like, do I just stay home and cover up in like snow gear if my power goes out? Or do I just wing it and say, I'll have a fun weekend? Like someone was like, do your parents even want you to come hang out with them? And I was like, they do. They sleep better. I'm not going to say how old, but they still love me under their roof and hanging out all weekend. But still binge watch shows and hung out and did all the things, but it does feel nice to be back home. And having a week. Some people were like, I'm sad we didn't get snow. And I'm like, I'm not. As someone who lived somewhere with snow and Houston infrastructure doesn't really do well, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, we got that last year. Like we got a lot this time last year. So I was good with it too. And it's like you in 2021, usually anytime there's like any natural disaster, it's usually hurricanes for us. I don't ever stay at my house. Like I always go to my parents because they're in Cypress and it's so far inland since I live downtown. And I mean, in 2021, that was the exact right thing to do, mostly because like I would have been at my house with no power. And my parents also didn't have power, but like I was with them and like they have gas. I have gas here too, but it was just like a different vibe than being like alone. And like you mentioned it, Angie, before we were filming our shorts, like the feeling of being trapped, I think becomes very real when you like don't have the option to leave the house anymore. Yes. So yeah.
Well, that's what my dad was like, he was like, what are we going to do for these days? I was like, it's a weekend. What would you be doing anyways? Like, it's immediately like, oh no, now you have cabin fever because you're being told you have to stay indoors.
Well, yeah. And after watching that Broncos game, I was like, I am thankful I am not in that kind of weather because the way it was coming down, like, yikes, you could barely freaking see the Patriots. They're like blending in with the field and all the snow.
That's what everyone was saying. They were like, if we would have been playing in that game, we probably would have been white and like in white. Like, how could you have seen us either? Like, all the Texans are probably watching that game being like, we're not too mad we're not playing in that game right now with that weather.
I like that game was like not good for CJ Stroud because I like fired up Twitter and myself and everybody else was like saying the same thing. Like, just annoyed all over again. And we knew this last game. Like, that's why we were so excited. So the fact that we lost in the way that we did, and then to watch the game, you're just like, very disappointed all over again. Reliving it all.
My mom was like, I want to watch the game. I was like, why? And then like the first 20 minutes, she was like, we should be here. We should be in this game. Why are we not here? I was like, this is why I didn't care to watch this game because it's just sad.
Well, I fell asleep. I mean, I started watching it and I was like, yeah, this is a good nap like time for me. Like, this is boring. The Seahawks game was actually really good.
It was.
Locked in on that, but the Broncos and Patriots was a snooze fest.
It was not fun. Not fun. I was the same. I'm like, I was doing so many other things while that game was on. Cooking all of the snacks and food that I got at the grocery store.
Yeah, exactly. Like I loved all those like memes that are like, I ate all of my snacks in the first hour.
Like, it's crazy.
Well, speaking of things that were on TV, Did either one of y'all watch the Skyscraper live?
No, but I saw somebody else that watched it.
I watched it. So Megan texted me and it was like, turn this on. Like I knew it was coming on because that morning, like me and Frank were on Netflix and they were like running the promo for it and I guess showing other things. And so like I didn't care about it at all. But then like at nighttime is when it was live. And I like go on Twitter and I see everyone talking about it. And then Megan was like, put this on. And I like made the mistake of doing that. And once I did, I was like, I'm involved in this now. Like if this man falls off of this skyscraper, we are going to see him pass away live. Like his wife was there. You know, only like good thing about it, as I was watching it, I was realizing, and a lot of people talked about this too, because he's the guy from Free Solo. And if you've seen that, it's this very steep mountain with like, I mean, I don't even know where he's gripping, but he obviously climbs with no rope, no anything, no backup. And so this was one of the tallest buildings in the world in Taipei. And the building looked a lot easier, though they were saying like how greasy it was. So he kept on going like this. And he kept on having to, he was like, I'm going to stop and wipe my shoes. But y'all, like, even when he would get to really high points, he would like step on a ledge, like a small ledge, and just like look down at people. And I'm like,
No.
I don't know. Like, I don't consider myself clumsy, but like maybe I am. But I'm like, he's just like literally just chilling. I was like, sit down, back up, like get off the edge. But they were talking about how like he's so focused that he doesn't like feel the same fears, I guess, as a normal person would. But yeah, I had to watch the whole thing and thankfully, nothing happened except for him making it to the top and getting a selfie that 8 billion other people in the world will never have. So
that's insane. The way I could never. That's how I feel about people that return. Like you just like literally sitting there waiting for a ball to come and then all these bodies running at you. I feel like that's all, like the focus I feel like you have to be in that position. I could never.
Well, that guy on the Rams, like he definitely he dropped the ball. And then there was a really funny video about the Seahawks, number 27, who plays on defense and got that pass thrown on him for a touchdown immediately after like barking at their sideline and getting a flag for it. Well, I don't know if y'all saw this on the sideline. The team was pissed, which like totally tracks because in the post game, the coach was just talking about how locked in they are on the mission and like how they're not the best players, but like it doesn't matter because they're there for the team and like what like 12 means to them and all that stuff. And so they were on his hay. They were like, they literally said, if we lose this game because of you. And I was like, oh wow, like this is very serious. And he gets a touchdown like thrown at him. It's like, that's why you don't do that. What are you doing? Go back to your bench. Yeah, it was wild. I
did see him do that, his little like prance at them.
Yeah.
I was like, sir.
Crazy.
Bad karma.
Yeah, karma. No. Listening to the Skyscraper, like I saw someone post it and it was like they were throwing up watching it, you know, kind of like emoji. And I'm like, I'm like that GIF that is the guy like shaking his head and he's just like, nope, nope. Like, no way could I do that.
No, like it was a million times worse than like our team driving for a chance at the natty and like every play is so critical, or like the other team driving on us and we have the lead to go. Like it was, my stomach was in knots for this man. Like I got involved, I got invested, and like I cannot believe that his wife is there, but like he was talking about how they discuss like all these things and how like he's ready to die for this stuff and just like knows what it means going into it. I mean, one wrong move, y'all. Like he's on the edge of this building just climbing up it. I couldn't believe it.
Why are you looking down? No.
Oh, this is the part where this is the craziest part. So it's a building. There's fans like on the 90th floor, like screaming at him. And Netflix was like, hey, try to keep it chill. And they're just like, hey. And he's just like outside of the building taking selfies with them I was like, no. While he's just like on the side, just hanging out.
It has to be like an adrenaline junkie.
Has to.
Oh, million percent.
The way that you say you could die, you were ready to die for this. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
And Andy,
like, doesn't have to be to put yourself in that kind of circumstance.
Speaking of like your comment about like being a returner, it reminds me of like what NFL has changed now, where like they don't go and run at the returner right away, right? Like the line is so far back, like the kickoff is so different to prevent probably injuries and all that kind of stuff of what could happen, but still rough. We'll see. I'm curious what if they change that for college or what will happen for that as well. But that's what, like, speaking of injuries, like in the games and not being there in CJ Stroud, that's a lot of the conversation of like, do we think after his concussion he's just afraid now, right? Like of what happens and afraid of taking the sack. And of course you think about that with Arch and how he came back after a concussion as well. But like, it would be different. Like people are going, much like us not wanting to be on a skyscraper, like people are going to choose, different things or fear different things, right?
Yeah, I think it's all mental for sure. But that you talked about injuries, and I had a little light bulb in my brain about Arch and the little foot surgery. I'm assuming it's little, right? They aren't making a big deal about it. But the fact that he had a surgery and that we were kind of talking about, I'm like, yes, this is the time of the year. Like, get all these little maintenance things taken care of so that when we get to the season, everybody is kind of good to go. But yeah, I think on the quarterback side, a lot of it is mental, even on a receiver, right? Depending on what position you're put in by the quarterback, right? And how you get hit. But I feel like with CJ, it's all been a lot of like postseason stuff of his performance and when you get there, which it's got to be hard, right? The whole world's looking at you. But as a quarterback, you got to be able to find that mental capacity and space to be one of the elite.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look great for him. And I think that this next coming season will be like, how do you rise to the occasion of all of the feedback, which is horrible? And so we're going to find out if he's a real gamer. Because like a real gamer is going to be like, all right, bet. Like this is what you have to say. I'm about to show you something and put y'all all on hush. Or is it going to be more of the same and you just can't rise to the occasion because you're not built that way? And yeah, we're gonna find out. Hopefully it all works out. But yeah, injuries wise, I actually was wondering when we were speaking about all of the players who were getting their maintenance done, if you will. I don't remember that from whenever we were in college. I think it just goes to show how much more like the NFL our program is now, like how much more advanced it is, like both from a monetary standpoint and just the way that the resources that have changed. Because I feel like unless it was like an actual thing, you weren't hearing of these players being like, oh, they went in for like this little touch up. It's like, oh, okay, like this is very serious. And I mean, I love that for the kids for sure.
They make it sound like they're going in for Botox. Like it's like that kind of maintenance.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know when I like read it and they were listing off all I was like, what? Like, wow. My mom was like, that was a lot of names. I was like, those are all people that had minor surgeries this offseason. Like,
yeah. And on Arch, the funny thing was Nash and a couple of others on Twitter were talking about him specifically because they were like, well, when did that happen? Because if it wasn't after the last play of
how fast he was.
He did that when he was hurt, his rushing touchdown against Michigan. And so it's like, if that's an indication of he did that while he was hurt, I mean, that's a really good sign for us. And I'm excited for him because I think all of this year was a lot of, okay, like I know I can run, but I also know I should be running this offense. And I know like it should be disciplined. And I think both from listening to his uncles and listening to the coaches and trying to just develop who he is as a quarterback. And I think just historically, you want to be seen as like that pocket passer, but then like use your legs if you have to. But I just think I don't think he should look at himself that way because I mean, obviously he's so much more dynamic and he should go legs first if that's what's open. And I'm looking forward to that for him because I think he'll find a lot more confidence in it this year than he did versus last year when he probably had more opportunities and just didn't take them.
Yeah, I think this is how he like sets himself apart as a Manning, right? They keep talking about him as the Mannings and what they're known for. But I'm like, no, this is Arch. And he is a very different Manning compared to his uncles. And that is exciting. Like, that's what we want. It's exactly what we want. Use your legs. We're used to that kind of quarterback and like have the grit and the charisma and like the little like spice that he has, which, coming from Louisiana and New Orleans, I guess that's all part of it. Get that little sprinkle of dash in there. But we love to see it.
Yeah, I feel like Arch is just one of those that like can't be tamed. Like you can't tame him. He found his groove. He said, all right, that's it. I played all these games. I was being who I was supposed to be. No, like I'm going to be me. I'm going to be Arch. I'm going to show you who I am and what I have. And I love it. Like you never want to scream at the TV and be like, run! Like Arch is the person that's like, he's going to take off running if he sees that's what he needs to do. And we need that. Happy to have it.
It even cracks me up, like some of the times when he would like go up to the camera or go do whatever, and then after he's like so sorry, or when he stood over that player and he has to apologize for it. Like I'm like, don't make the kid apologize. Like he's in the moment, and that's truly who he is and what makes him great.
He's so conflicted.
I know. His mom was probably mad.
Yeah, speaking of Louisiana, so they sort of had a lot of chatter around their program for good and bad reasons over the weekend. But one of the reasons was the fact that they have now signed, I think, the top class going into next year. And CJ Vogel said LSU is about to be a problem. It just made me start thinking about our schedule next year because we know we're going to Baton Rouge. And I know we've been so excited for it for the longest time. I never really saw them as I don't see them as a threat like I see Georgia, if you will. Now, I'm not going to say I thought, oh, this is a W on our calendar. We're going into Baton Rouge and we're just going to win the game. But I never really when I look at wins and losses, like they weren't a stop where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm concerned. So I'm curious what you guys think. I mean, he's coming into his first year. Obviously, there's a lot of chatter. He's gotten a lot of new players. And so, I mean, what are y'all's thoughts? Because I was sitting here thinking about it. Again, people were talking about them. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm quite buying the stock yet in LSU, but it seems like people are.
What year was it? 2019 when LSU won.
Yeah.
Was that Coach O's first year at LSU as the head coach?
I have no idea what year he was in. I don't know.
I can't remember either, but I don't know why I feel like it was. But if it was, I feel like that is interesting. There are so many moving parts to it, but I don't know. I feel like LSU always has this little edge. They've been rocky the past couple of years, but they do. Like there's something about LSU and like the chip on their shoulder and being like grassroots, kind of like they play so hard. They have this swag factor to them. And I think that Lane kind of only amplifies that because he has the same personality and the same persona to fit that team. But I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do with the offseason because there are a lot of moving parts that they have to put together to get back to that place.
Yeah, Devin, much like you, probably looking into the season, I wasn't like, oh, this is, again, like not just an immediate W on our side, but being like, okay, and I think it's because they haven't been all that good like the past few years and been the LSU that we knew previously. And so it wasn't like, even like us going to Baton Rouge, it's like it is, but it's automatically you get a little like timid. You're like, it's a little scary. And like, we have a lot of friends that are going to be rooting for LSU. And it's like, are we going to be friends that weekend? Are we going to like each other or how's this going to go? And of course I've attended like LSU games recently with friends too, but yeah, I don't know. It wasn't something I knew, but now they're getting in a lot of players. Lane's there. I mean, LSU is always someone that's going to be somewhat competitive, and playing in Baton Rouge brings a whole nother level. So,
I mean, ask A&M what they think about that, and look what we did to A&M. I just think there are certain things, and look at Vanderbilt as well. I mean, Vanderbilt as well. So I think we'll see what happens. The whole friend thing has also been on my mind, Michelle, mostly because they feel, look, you mentioned the 2019 game, right, Angie? We never went to them in 2020. So that 2019 was the last time. That was a while ago. And at the time we weren't in the SEC. And so now it's like completely different, but also lots of friends at LSU for the three of us. And I'm sure for all Texas fans. And so I'm trying to see what will happen because I feel like it's friendly fire right now, and it will be until the game. And I feel like it feels very much like Bama. Like Bama is not like Georgia for us. We're just like, okay, yes, Bama, we respect you. We got to play you. LSU, yes, we respect each other, I think, as teams, as fan bases, as historical, whatever. But I think once the whistle blows, it's going to surprise a lot of people because it is friendly fire leading up. But yeah, in terms of what happens, I mean, I don't know. I do know they got an offensive tackle, Jordan Seaton, who came from college, visited us that we wanted, and Lane stole him away. And so people are taking note of that. But one thing, Michelle, that I know that you'll enjoy is people were talking about it and saying, okay, they put together a lot of pieces just like everyone else. We don't know exactly what that will end up looking like on the field. And so, yeah, I don't know. I started thinking about our schedule. I know this time of year is when we start talking about what we're circling on the calendar. We have that game circled for many different reasons. I don't think more about our concerns about the game, but I think that will start to develop. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, like how fast does that like culture of Lane Kiffin, like how fast does that get implemented? Because the end of the year last year for LSU was rough, like real rough. So yeah.
Well, it's back to what we were talking about last episode too. Like okay, you can get all these pieces and all these top recruits and all this, that, and the other, but like, how do they play together? And they've never actually played as a team. And look at Indiana, who just won the Natty, and like how long they had played together and that sort of thing, right? Like there's just some differences. So maybe, okay, yeah, you got some top recruits, but like how are they all going to mesh together and actually play on the field is to be determined.
That was my exact thought. I think Indiana changes the game. I think every single college coach is probably like, damn, like this man did this in 2 years. Like it's no more I need 4 years to turn a program around because you just saw someone do it in 2. So there's a new expectation and standard set on head coaches. And then I have a big question mark for Lane. You know, I've been a big fan of his for forever. I almost feel like the move with leaving Ole Miss sort of deteriorated everything about him because it's like, oh, his culture and what he's bringing to LSU. It's like, well, what is that? Is that leaving for the next thing as soon as you get ready? Like, what is his culture and what does he stand for? Because to be really honest, like right now, I actually don't know the answer to that. So I think he has a lot of work to do inside of the locker room too, even though it may not look like it.
Yeah, of course, my family is all in Tennessee, Mississippi area. And so when Lane left Ole Miss and my family was talking about it, my other half of my family was like, yeah, ask Tennessee how they felt when a situation happened, so yeah, very fair, like leaves a different trail in what's going to happen. But I mean, LSU fans, of course, are going to stand 10 toes down and support whatever it is. But
yep,
I'm curious.
We're going to find out. We sure will.
I know. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like we haven't played them, like Devin said, in the SEC. Like that's the thing. Yeah, we're all friends. We're all good. And then like, we're now in the SEC, and some people feel a type of way about that.
Yes.
And now we're going to actually pay each other. It's going to be a fun season.